Hi guys and welcome back. How has it been a week already? Time is flying. I've had a really good week prepping ahead of my husband's birthday, which is coming up over the next few days, and I've got a couple of little things organised for him to celebrate, so I'm really excited. It's been a really kind of happy week, which is lovely. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you're joining me with something nice to drink, maybe a snack, hopefully something that you're making. Yeah, I'm looking forward to touching base. Bit like last week, I have managed to be a bit more monogamous this week on some projects. There's still kind of more than one, but yeah, narrowing it down to fewer than normal. Before I used to work across kind of 6 or 7 projects in a week or 2 weeks, as my schedule used to be. Now I've really narrowed it down, so I'm quite proud of myself. Right, I am going to be playing with my hair the whole thing, I think, unless I put it up. So, whilst I put it up and out of the way, let's talk about what I am wearing. I am wearing my Summer's Eve sweater. This is a pattern that I released back in May, and you can find this on Ravelry. I believe I've also published this on PayHip, so I will put a link down below. I've not been fantastic at uploading all my patterns to PayHip yet. I keep saying I'm going to do like a kind of revised version of all my patterns, like improve the layout of them all. Oh, classic. Does anyone else do this? Leave one strand of hair out. Enough wittering. We have a finished object today, guys. It was a little bit of a rushed finish. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about the Honey Clutch by Petite Knit. This is still slightly damp, but I just really wanted it done. I know, impatient. If you can hear some rattling, it's because I've put some notions in it just to get a feel for how much it holds. But yeah, really delighted with this. So what can I tell you? I had just kind of cast this on and really just got begun on this when we were chatting last week. And this went, I mean, I definitely made a conscious decision that I wanted this finished for this episode and for bits and pieces that I'm doing in the next couple of days. I just really wanted it done. So I definitely spent a decent amount of time knitting on it. I think this has the potential to be a super quick project. The bit that makes it slow is the management of your needles. I used a 2.5mm circular needle. The pattern suggests using 2.5 and suggests using 2 DPNs on either of the short ends and then 1 circular needle to do both the long sides. If I'd had DPNs, I probably would have done that, but I don't. I should have also gone up to a 3mm needle, I think, if not a 3.5mm needle, which would have been a much nicer knitting experience and would have made my pouch a bit bigger. So this is quite small compared to the intended dimensions of the pattern. Did I gauge swatch this? No. Would I ever gauge swatch for something this small? No. I think if I was doing it for someone else, maybe. So yeah, and then I've put a dark coloured zip in, which I might replace at some point, but it was one that I already had. I know Petite Knit puts nice metal ones in. And then I don't know how well you're going to be able to see on camera, but I've put like a nice orange silky lining in. The sewing portion of this, I used to work as a sewist, and I found this a bit fiddly, if I'm honest. But you don't get luxury items without a bit of fiddliness. Don't quote me on that, but you guys know what I mean. And then yeah, finally the yarn. So this is going to, I mean, I'm going to use this and love it, but it is also kind of a sample for my yarn brand. I promise it's the only thing I'm knitting in my yarn that I'm going to show you this week. But yeah, this is my natural 4-ply base, which is 100% Highland wool. This is the colourway Chili Jam, but this skein, these lighter elements you see, this was because this skein had errors on it, and that's why I've knit a sample. Like, I know it seems weird to knit a sample in a skein that's an error, but I really love this colour. I hope other people do, and so I didn't want to take a good one out of the shop, if that makes any sense. And I figure I can just say to people, yeah, the actual skeins that are in the shop are just more this middle colour. They don't have these lighter sections in like this. So there we go. The base, I held the yarn with a strand of a Rico Designs hot pink mohair, just to give the base a bit more sturdiness. But the main body I just knit with a single strand of yarn. I think the pattern calls for fingering plus a mohair. And that's it really on that project. I mean, I love the honeycomb stitch. I actually found that really enjoyable to knit. Really loved that. You definitely feel like you're knitting something luxurious and chic, with the kind of double knitting elements and the kind of plackets and stuff. So Petite Knit's done a really good job on this. I just think because the size of it and the shape of it, it is a little bit fiddly, but worth it. So what have I got in here, just to give you an idea of the storage? I think Petite Knit's one that she's photographed, she kind of photographs it with like makeup brushes and stuff in it. I don't think mine would fit makeup brushes. It would probably fit like a mascara, an eyeliner, a foundation. I've currently actually got knitting notions and stuff in it, but I will let you know what I end up using it for over the coming days. Maybe put some photographs up on Instagram. So yeah, that's my finished object. The rest of the projects, I'll show you one other that you've seen before, and then I've got two more that are completely brand new. Let's go in that order. So, the one you've seen before, I've just dropped the hook, is this blanket. So, it doesn't look like I've expanded it massively. You can see here I'm partway through a row. This outer pink stripe is new. I've done one on the other end, but I haven't done the sides yet. But the main bit of work on this was actually to weave in all the ends on the back. There was a lot. I think I had something like 40 ends to weave in. So that felt really good to get that done. So really happy. So yeah, this is growing. I'm going to continue with the pink. I might try and make it wider, so I don't quite want it square, but just not quite so long and thin. And I think I'm just going to stick to the red and the pink, and I'm not going to go to those other neutral colours that I had mentioned in a previous episode. So that's my plan. It probably won't end up being very big. It'll definitely be kind of a lap blanket, but I am really pleased with it, and it's a lovely weight, like as in, you know, finished weight of fabric. So that's that little bit on that. Really nice to weave in some ends over a morning coffee. Sticking with the crochet theme, something completely new and so random, but I was in a bit of a playful mood this week. I'll chat more about that at the end. But for longer term viewers of the podcast, you will potentially remember that last summer I made it's the something something tank by Emily Boldewan, who is the owner of the Maker store. And I made it in Hirt Garn Organic Trio, which is a wool, silk, cotton blend. I think it's, yeah, 50% wool, 25% cotton, 25% silk. And I had this ball and another almost complete ball left over. And I don't really know what hit me, but, well, I do. I've just got loads of projects just sat everywhere, and I've got some yarn that I am like saving for particular projects, particular cast-ons, but I have also got loads of quite random amounts of yarn left over that are very varied. And that's partially what happened with my chroma sweater, is I was just so excited to kind of start putting that to a really good use. And this is definitely the case here. So I saw this yarn, I love that tank top that I made. It is a little bit cropped on me, so I might frog that, but then use the yarn for this. What is this? This is a completely made up crochet project that I don't know how it's gonna go, guys, but I just thought I'd try. I am not a very proficient crocheter. The crochet that I do is like these kind of rows, like, I don't know what this is called. Any crocheters, please let me know down below what the stitch is called, but I essentially only go through one leg of the stitch. Yeah. And I do a single crochet. That means different things whether you're American or English. Guys, I'm not an expert, so you don't want to do what I do anyway. But I chained 100 stitches along the bottom here. Then I worked that for a little bit. I will pick that back up and go down later. But I then crocheted 45 stitches in on each side, and that left 10 in the middle, and then went back on each side and then worked them individually. So I think each time I came towards the neckline I left 2 stitches that I didn't work, so that basically creates like a stepped decrease. I had 8 stepped decreases before I then felt like I'd finished the shoulder, did the other, and then I just went straight across the back and then started going down the back. So we're kind of looking like this at the moment. And then I have gone around the neckline because I just wanted to see how that worked before I got any further. So it's quite an angled neckline. It goes over my head really well, sits fairly decently, but obviously not as decent as it will be when it's kind of finished. And the idea is to make quite a boxy t-shirt is the idea. Because I absolutely love this yarn. I do really love wearing that tank. It's just a shame it's a bit too cropped on me, and I know that's stupid because I have more of the yarn, but it's a bottom-up tank, and I don't really want to be doing surgery on it, is the long and the short. So I think I will get more wear out of this. So I will probably frog that tank, as I say, and put it all into this. And I've been really enjoying this. This did not take very long. I've not put that much work into this. Crochet is so much faster than knitting, at least when you're on a big hook. This is on a 5mm hook, I should have said. This is kind of a DK weight yarn. This is shade number 5014. There you go, proper information for you. So yeah, that's that project. Okay, and then the final thing I've been working on you haven't seen before either. So I have finally cast on something I've wanted to cast on for ages, but my plan in terms of the yarn I'm going to use for this has changed drastically. I have cast on the Maggie cardigan by Petite Knit. Very unlike me to have multiple Petite Knit patterns on the needles. I've had a bit of a phase where I haven't really wanted to knit very many of her things, and now all of a sudden I do. But the Maggie cardigan really caught my eye the minute it came out. It's got a really beautiful construction on the top of the shoulders and the yoke. And I've been a little bit obsessive about it, if I'm honest. There was part of me that was like, oh, do I even like try and get it done in a week? Which on the one hand seems ludicrous, on the other hand, it's short sleeved. Well, I mean, you can obviously make it long sleeved if you want, but it is a short sleeve pattern. So before I show you where I've got to on it, my original plan, I've got multiple of these really massive cones of cobweb weight. I mean, really fine. Really fine yarn. This was back from when work.knits was actually I was doing like manual machine knitting products, and I bought loads of these cones, and then for multiple different reasons, after about a year or two, I felt that wasn't kind of going the way I wanted it to, and so I stopped. But I've got loads of these cones left, and they're in really lovely colours. This is Knoll Yarns Super Soft in their ridiculously fine weight. I don't know exactly what weight it is. 115/1, if that helps anybody. And this is in the colourway Almond. So I've got this, I've got another cone of this in a really dark bluey grey, which is the colourway Oxford. And I was picturing the Maggie cardigan in that dark grey. That's kind of the colour that Petite Knits knit it in as well. Not the same yarn, but same colour. But when I swatched for that, held with Zakami yarns, their undyed baby alpaca, yak, silk and merino yarn base, this gorgeous fluff, this contrasted too much with the dark grey. I didn't like the look of it. So I'm using the Almond, shock horror, having just held it up. So where have we got to? Well, classic me, I'm midway through a row and I'm on really small needles, so you're not going to be able to see it very well. But we've knit quite a bit. We are probably just over halfway through, no, a bit more than that, maybe like 3/4 of the way through the yoke shaping. So if I can tease out a little bit of this, there you go, you can kind of see it's got this really interesting construction going on here. Query, I was having a catch up with Emily Knits earlier this week, and we were thinking this might be the contiguous construction method, which, please correct me down below if I'm wrong, is that an Elizabeth Zimmerman? Or is she the ziggurat method? Or is this the ziggurat method? What method is this? Without giving away the pattern, you essentially start working the back piece, pick up for the shoulders, come forwards, then you pick up along the side of the shoulders, and then you're kind of working a semi-raglan situation. It creates, I mean, I'm gonna be so interested how it fits. I mean, in Petite Knit's pictures, it looks lovely, but it creates this slightly weird point just here at the front. We will see. But I'm absolutely loving the colour, guys. That almond combined with this grey, almost dropping it. This grey, if you hold it next to my skin tone, it really washes me out. It's a bit darker than this. This light grey, fine, I can carry that. This just, no. This makes my skin look so much warmer. It brings out the rosy tones. That almond is balancing the grey to form like a perfect kind of greige. Oh, I'm loving it. So excited. So yeah, that I've done quite a lot of knitting on that. I'm knitting this on 3.5mm needles, which is what the pattern calls for. However, my gauge is slightly tighter than Petite Knits normally. And I've kind of taken that semi into account without doing any maths. Classic. I've kind of taken that into account when choosing my size. So I'm knitting a size medium. The pattern's not meant to have masses of positive ease. But the medium will give me like a little bit, / maybe it might just fit me a bit like this with very little positive ease, because I'm probably using the wrong needle size. We will see, that will be fun. We'll just figure that one out. But that's it for my knitting this week. So fairly monogamous, a bit like last week, monogamous across a few projects. I have got time allocated to working on this new summer top. You guys must think I just don't want to work on it. I'm so excited to have it. I do have a deadline in my mind for when I need to have knit it. Nothing to do with when I release the pattern, but just there's an occasion I want to wear it for. But I'm going to pick that back up in this next week. It's great for travel knitting, so I will work on it this week coming. I haven't picked up my terracotta sweater. The chroma sweater, I'm still trying to decide what to do with the top half. My big love cardigan, you guys haven't seen that in a while. I just haven't felt like knitting it, if I'm honest. It's not that I don't like the pattern, I just go through phases. And I'd also cast on a second version of my cabled hat pattern, which will come out in the autumn. But again, I just haven't felt like it, but I'm sure at some point I'll feel like it again. We'll pick that back up. But yes, this week, so yeah, a little bit of a kind of background life update. I haven't got any yarn brand news to be talking about, which is probably a relief. But if you're interested in sticking around for a little bit of background chat, very happy to share. If not, thank you so much for watching. So yeah, in terms of this last week, so it's my husband's birthday coming up within the next week, and I've got a couple of different things planned to celebrate, so I'm really excited. There's been a lot of kind of just last minute tweaks over the last week or so, which have taken up a little bit of time, but obviously very pleased to be spending the time on that. I have also been figuring things out with our home renovation. If you are someone who's been kind enough to jump over to my home YouTube channel, you'll know I haven't posted a video in a while. And the reason for that is the bathroom project has just been on pause whilst we've had lots of issues with plumbers dropping in and out of the projects, some things going wrong with the plumbing. But we finally have a way forwards. That way forwards unfortunately won't start until kind of mid-July. And that's having quite a knock-on effect. I think I'm beginning to come out of it now. I've like actually acknowledged to myself how much of an impact the house being a mess is having on me. And it's not just a case of, oh, I need to do a bit of tidy up. It's that like we've halved the size of our home with this renovation project. And that means there are like beds that are in pieces, and there's like a mattress in my dining room and bits of beds all over the house and bedside tables, and there's just clutter everywhere from where we've reduced the number of rooms we can use. And yes, the lodger is in the room that I'd spent the first couple of months this year renovating into a yarn room. I haven't really had access to that because the lodger's in there, but the poor lodger has got loads of random furniture around. We've had to like move the room around because she's essentially using the sofa bed with a mattress on it. The whole thing just is very temporary and scatty. So the net result has been I haven't really made any more home reno videos in a little while. I probably won't until the bathroom project gets going again. So I'm trying to channel my energy really into knitting, and it's been a really creative week. I've had a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun just allowing myself to knit on what I want to knit on, which I know is what we should all be doing all the time anyway, but there are definitely times where I'm like, oh, I need to be more disciplined, I need to get some projects finished. I've just been going with the flow. And yeah, I also have had a bit of a creative epiphany this week related to yarn dyeing, but it is making me really want to take steps to initiate a project that I'm super excited about, and it's just one of those things that I couldn't have planned to have the idea, if that makes any sense. Like if I'd sat down and been like, right, come up with ideas for projects, I just couldn't have come up with this. It was such a serendipitous thing, and yeah, I'm really excited. So stay tuned, guys, stay tuned. Yeah, I think that's it really to share this week. I think a quick one, maybe, we'll see. Anyway, I will be back again next week. Stay tuned over on Instagram. There will be some content up there over the coming week, kind of gradually throughout the week. So if you want to stay in the loop, do check my Instagram page out. Would love to see you over there. Likewise, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Contact me on Instagram, that'd be lovely. And in the meantime, stay safe. I hope you enjoy lots of knitting and making in the next week. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you very soon.